On August 28, 2013 will be the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's historic March on Washington. In 1963, when the original march took place, it was an unprecedented world-shaking event. Black America had solidified its support behind a young genius who managed to defy the president himself and put black power on the map in the heart of the evil empire. White America never thought it was possible. And it was also clear that the Hispanic and Asian communities also realized what black power meant. But to hear them tell the story today why they were as great a victim of racism as black people were. Yet when it came time to fight racism, Asians and Hispanics typically ran and hid in the shadows, where they remained until recent years when they felt it safe enough to slither out of their holes. But it makes sense the Hispanics and Asians should look at the history-shaping actions of African Americans with acute jealousy. These two groups of people are an amalgam of several different races, so it should be no surprise that they look to eagerly glom onto whomever's parade passes by. But Asians and Hispanics should see this type of schizophrenia and cravenly behavior for what it is, a collective character flaw. The media has been hyping the upcoming 50th anniversary of the march, and in the perverse turn of events, both Asians and Hispanics have been desperately trying to find a vehicle to push their agenda of legalizing their illegal alien relatives. This rogues gallery of anti-black thugs includes groups such as La Raza, whose name literally means the race, and they aren't talking about the human race. The civil rights movement was the single most morally pure movement in human history, and countless other groups who did nothing to help black people in their struggle, or who even opposed it, are now trying to claim the moral high ground that black people established. Hispanics, who have launched an all-out jihad against black people in California and Florida, have now spent the last 15 years organizing what they call freedom rides. But these aren't to make sure that citizens have the right to vote, rather to make sure that illegal aliens can vote, but only if they're Hispanic. Asian Americans, who have been fighting their own jihad to eliminate affirmative action, who have an open boycott against black businesses, and who run black people into the ground every chance they get, are also attempting to hide behind the coattails of the March on Washington. The only time these people ever talk about blacks is when they're saying how much they don't like us. If you're going to attempt to claim that you were with us all along, you can forget it. Now, we can all think of black media personalities and news people who talk about what the march meant to them, but have you ever seen even one Asian or Hispanic person who said the march meant anything to them before now? Have you ever seen these people claiming any sort of kinship or alliance with black people? You don't, and they still don't today. See if you can find any gathering of Asian or Hispanic people, and then see if they mention black people even once. One Asian or Hispanic academic who mentions black people. One Asian or Hispanic playwright, artist, politician, actor, social worker, anyone. Yet now they're all coming out of the woodwork claiming that the march was relevant to them. And it only took them 50 years to figure that out. These are the same people who write endless hit pieces condemning black people simply because, who mindlessly repeat the media lies about us, and who signed on to that devil's bargain of white supremacy. This was not Dr. King's dream. It is a total perversion of his dream and a profane abomination of the black struggle's landmark demonstration in Washington. These people had nothing to do with it, didn't help it, and have only served to undermine it. Their attempt to appropriate it is an intolerable perversion that cannot be excused. It is a rape of African American history. It destroys what the march was meant to do, forward the interests of black American citizens. Now, in Asian and Latin cultures, lying, deceit, and appropriating the deeds of others, even those who you hate, is commonplace. But with Africans, it is not. However, that brings us to the worst part. There are black people who are helping them do it. Although he has been helpful in highlighting certain causes, I have to occasionally remind myself that Al Sharpton is, at his core, a self-interested media personality. He began as a groupie for James Brown, then decided to switch to his own self-styled preacher man hustle, always performing. Like Jesse Jackson, he is now struggling to remain relevant however he can. Having failed to be of any use to black progress, he is now offering to lend his fame, such as it is, and activism to any interested party. You know, when you're doing infomercials with Pat Robertson of all people, smiling as you claim you both agree on something, that's pretty low. He goes wherever the cameras are. His only real commodity is his visibility, so he does what he has to maintain it. Like the NAACP, Al Sharpton has never been completely comfortable around black people. And while it's understandable that a man with no particular talent other than talking would eventually find himself having to cling to any and every cause the media deems noteworthy, it still doesn't excuse his taking part in helping black America's enemies rape our history and write themselves into our story. For decades, civil rights retreads like the NAACP, Rainbow Coalition, and Sharpton's own National Action Network have been making utter fools of themselves, begging Hispanics of all people to become part of some black-brown coalition. You know, I've always wondered, why did these guys never bother to ask Asians to ally themselves with black America? Because Asians had not been targeted like black people had. So it's ridiculous to think they'd even feel that they had common ground with us. Fair enough. But then why are Sharpton and his ilk allowing those same Asians to claim that they have any common ground with us now? Asians and Hispanics have literally made a cottage industry out of running black people into the ground, both in their home countries and here in the U.S., and they all claim that it's just part of their culture. Well, I say that we take them at their word and exclude them. They are as racist and obstinate as white people. How on earth can any sane person think or want to have a coalition with that? But as the young black people turn their back on the helpless and useless civil rights groups of the past, they need to get new supporters from somewhere. Now they've gone from being useless social clubs to being useless whorehouses. Illegal immigration is not a civil right, and when our enemies try to wrap themselves in the flag of our struggles, we are supposed to call them on it. If the NAACP and the like want a black-brown alliance, then they're supposed to know that the first rule of any alliance is that you tell your intended partner what your terms of cooperation are, and they must meet these terms first before any alliance can take place. Hispanics are self-hating and schizophrenic. They will make excellent lackeys to white power in America, as they already have to white power in their own lands. If ever a group of people were ready-made slaves, it's them. We can get no benefit from allying ourselves with a group like that, so we have no business wasting our time trying. And these failed social activists have no place attempting to speak for us or to try to make it seem that we are lending our voice to these cowardly allies of white supremacy when we are not. Will Sharpton or Ben Jealous get on TV and assure black America that these same Asians and Hispanics are going to mind their manners after amnesty is passed? Can they do that? The March on Washington was a black achievement for black people. If the Asians and Hispanics want a similar achievement, they will have to do something that they failed to do from day one. Take a stand against white power. But in order to do that, you have to have an identity of your own. And they don't. It is suicide to reach out to anyone unless they reach out to you. And when they do, that outstretched hand better have something of value in it. Sharpton and the NAACP are making their final self-destructive push to make Hispanics and Asians at ease with us, and to convince black people that these two groups can be our friends. I want you to remember that Richard Aoki was a so-called member of the Black Panthers, and what a surprise, it turns out that he was also an FBI informant. And to this day, Hispanics claimed that they had no reason to vote for Obama because black people hadn't done anything for them. And to this day, they have not condemned George Zimmerman's murder of Trayvon Martin, nor has even one Hispanic person claimed solidarity with the Martin family. This is who Sharpton and the NAACP want us to become friends with? Well, I'll tell you this, Al Sharpton. With friends like these, who needs enemies?